All right. Hi there, everybody. Welcome to class today. As you should have seen from the email I sent this past Friday, we are digging into a very difficult concept. This is, again, one of the hardest concepts in anatomy and physiology, or at least introductory to that, which is what we're doing and what you would experience in your first and second year college courses. The other concept is called sliding filament theory, and we will learn about that later in the year as well. If you are a chemistry-minded person, then this will be the easier of the two very difficult things. But if you're more of like a kinesthetic person, like you can move things, like you like thinking about how things move and how they interact with each other, then this will be the more difficult. And I don't say that to try to intimidate or scare you. Quite the opposite. I just say that so that we can give it the respect and attention that it deserves, and to also encourage you to persist. This is, as one of my mentors in anatomy and physiology instruction told me when I first started teaching, is that her students typically, and in my experience holds to be true as well, that students typically get, like, this concept clicks for them on the second time they interact with that concept, with this stuff, which kind of fits with the cognitive science stuff that we've been talking about this year, is that that active recall and that spaced repetition coming back and helps our brain work better. So anyway, if you do get this concept with the first interaction with it, congratulations. If not, please consider today a down payment on your understanding. So make sure that you are sticking through, even when it gets a little bit confusing. Keep working on it. I will say that over the decade of teaching this content, not to toot my own horn, but I get students through this concept. This is something that a lot of people struggle with, and a lot of people change their major in college because they fail to understand it, and they fail the test and don't pass the class and don't get to be a nurse because they didn't pass anatomy and physiology, or don't get to continue in science. So this is a difficult concept, and I have a very high success rate of getting students through it if you just trust me and we work together to get this done. So I hope, as I said in the email, that you're in a space where you can focus. You're not also watching The Office or holiday movies or anything like that on the side. Put the phone in airplane mode, set it aside, and strap in and focus on this. Again, you're either gonna get it or you're not today, but not getting it today is not the end, because we will be doing a lecture of this information, which is going to take basically the entire class. It typically takes like a 90-minute class period, but that's having you guys work in pairs and do other things like that too. But we will spend all of lesson 2 this week going through this with me on my iPad talking and drawing charts, and you doing the same thing. But for today, you're going to be working individually, and that is a requirement. Like, that is not a text your friends for help type thing. I know it's tempting when you do get stuck to ask for help or support, but this is one of those things that's going to pay back your time and effort and energy. The other thing that's happening today that's a little bit different is the technology that I've been using, that I was using to play DJ air horns last week, is allowing me to record this introduction just my side. So with Teams, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to record a version that's just me, that I can put on the YouTube playlist that we have for remote video support stuff for HBS. So for student privacy reasons, recording this separately and not recording this in Teams, but that also means that when somebody raises their hand, which is happening right now, I don't want to call on that person by name because I'm trying not to use student names or anything like that, and these videos are going to be on YouTube. So I'm not not identifying you on purpose, or I am doing it on purpose, but not in a demeaning way for anybody who raises their hand or says something. I'm just doing it because I'm also recording these little introductions for anybody who misses class and stuff like that. So there's a hand up. You want to ask your question? The other thing is that it doesn't record student voices or anything like that, so I'll repeat questions out loud. So if you didn't get the email from last week, like the weekly email, like the regular standard weekly email that I send every week, double check to make sure that it is not in your spam folders or whatnot, and search for HBS Weekly Update, I think is the subject of that. And then if I have your email down wrong in my system for sending those, let me know. So if you search your email and don't find that, send me an email so I can double check my address for you. So so it's the YouTube so the YouTube channel for Bel Air High School's Biomedical Sciences program is youtube.com/BAHS Biomed, and there's a playlist on there called HBS Remote Support. So these videos, these little introduction videos, are just starting today. Today's the very first one, your class specifically, and other videos are on there that I've sent links to in the past through email, but I've just put them all together into a playlist. So I will, probably on this week's email, I will share the playlist link, but you can find it if you just go to the channel, which is youtube.com/BAHS Biomed, and then you should find a ton of videos up there for HBS and BI. All good? Yep, sure thing. So, in case we need to go through some stuff for today, so with today's work, we are working on so if you're looking at It's Learning, we are working on a student response sheet and some Cornell Notes. You should have those. Again, the Cornell Notes you should have printed out, a stack of them to use. You should always have some accessible, but specifically we also have a student response sheet for today. So Cornell Note sheets you should have access to, and then the student response sheet for today is called HBS 2.2.2, The Secret to Signals, which is the name of this lesson, and then student response sheet. So this is 4 pages, and it's designed to be printed front back, and I would normally have them for you in class, but 3-hole punch front back printing is why it's a little bit off to the side. The last page you are not going to complete today, so do not do page 4. That is for our lecture next lesson. But pages 1 through 3 are on your agenda for today. And going back to It's Learning, if you scroll down, you'll see that we have 2 items on the agenda. This student response sheet is designed to go with this animation. So this animation has been around for a long time. I think I actually have been using it since I have been teaching, but it's based on Flash, and Flash is going away, has been going away for a while. So they have moved it from Harvard University's Life Science Outreach program. Instead of being an interactive like animation thing, it is now a narrated video. So if you play through that, again, this is the Harvard University, and this is their Life Science Outreach program, and you can see that there is a play-by-play narrated version of that. Again, the animation this is the animation you would have interacted with before. They're just doing a narrated version of it. If this doesn't work for you, before they made this version, I made a YouTube version of it. I made the Flash work on my computer and narrated their, or didn't narrate, but played the animation for you. So you can watch the animation. For either one today, as you're going through this, whether you do the YouTube version, which is not narrated, or the more interactive, closed captioned and narrated version that I just showed you, that you can access from here, which is the narrated version, or the YouTube version I'm talking about. For either one of those, I know this is going to seem redundant, but for either one of those, go through it first, taking notes, just watching it, using the Cornell Note sheet, drawing diagrams and doing stuff like that. And then, after you've done that, and this is the part that might seem redundant, after you've done it once, then go through and do the student response sheet. So you're going to go through the animation 2 times today, the first time taking notes and the second time doing the student response sheet. And I know that it's easy to hear that and just do the student response sheet, right? You're not going to be turning in the notes or anything like that. But trying to navigate you through this minefield, I encourage you, it always works better when students do it twice. So student response sheet and notes. I've included in here, if you want another resource after you've done that, then it's still not quite making sense. There is a crash course on here, which is again very good. So, pop socket commercial, but anyway, and I encourage you to use that as another resource for you if this isn't working out. But again, please persist. I know it is difficult. Next class, I'm going to be going through and doing page 4 of that packet with you. We're going to be drawing out a graph and talking about it in detail, and I can answer questions and stuff like that about this process. But this is action potential. This is a very difficult concept that demands your attention and respect. There's a hand up in the chat. How can I help you? Yeah, so as far as Cornell Notes go, again, the beauty of them and the simplicity of Cornell Notes is that it builds into it the active recall process and spaced repetition. So you should complete the top portion. So objectives, like writing in do now, which is your objectives from today. That's just like class teacher stuff. But the notes over here is what you do now. So this would be your typical thing that you would normally write. Like here's a diagram, here are the ions that are involved, here are the voltages, whatever. You just do your notes like you normally would. And then later tonight, using that spaced repetition, letting yourself forget a little bit, you go back through your notes, and then you write over here little questions that you can use to quiz yourself, where the notes are the answers to those questions. So lined up with your notes, in those little sections of your notes, you can put little questions. So you could cover up the notes page, the notes section, and you would have a question over there that you write tonight that you would look at later that says, what are the ions involved in action potentials? And you would say sodium, potassium. And then you would uncover your notes and be like, yep, got it right, great. So again, that's the old school from the 1940s, no technology way of being able to create active recall for yourself. So notes is what you do today in class. Cues, as it says right underneath of it, are due tonight. And the summary is something you do next week. If you use that QR code that's right there, that takes you to a video where the people who write that little blue book that I like so much about cognitive science, they explain the Cornell Notes system, and that you can access their YouTube videos through that little QR code to understand how to use the sheet in more detail. But again, I'm highly encouraging you to leverage all of the tools that you have that we've been using this year, the cognitive science stuff, the productivity stuff, to bring your full attention to bear on the task for today. Yep. So you have access to the student response sheet and the Cornell Notes there. Spell Quizlet activity is something that you should have been approaching during the warm-up period while we were waiting for class to start. And then your task for today is to address the animation. Do this Harvard University action potential animation. You can do it either the YouTube or the narrated version, and then you'll do the student response sheet. And if you need help, you can do the there's another resource for you as well. But I want your student response sheet to be completed, except for page 4, by the start of next class, because we will be doing a lecture on this concept next class as well. As always, if you have any questions or need help with anything during class, feel free to use the chat, raise your hand, or if you have an individual question, please send me an email. Other than that, I'm going to try not to interrupt you. I'm going to ask you to, again, focus in on this concept and let me know if you need any support, and then we'll dig into it next class as well. So without further ado, I'll go ahead and let you get to work. Good luck.